Hello, my name is Nancy Hoebelheinrich. I'm from Knowledge Motifs LLC in San Mateo, California, and I'm also editor of the Earth Science Information Partners, or ESIP, Data Management Training Clearinghouse. And I'm here because I want to share with you a couple quick tips that can help you speed up learning on how to do some of the activities associated with your work as a researcher, such as publishing your data or making it available for others to use. So one simple way to think about managing your data and getting it published is one that a number of people have talked about, have been doing this for a while, and that's about thinking about your data's life cycle. And so what is a data life cycle? It's a conceptual tool that represents the stages that data go through from creation to distribution and reuse. Its purpose is really to give you a way to think about on a high level an overview of those different stages that are important for both managing and preserving data for use and reuse. This is a definition from DataONE. A data support specialist suggests that thinking of your data from a life cycle point of view will really help you keep track of your research projects, your workflows that you're part of or supposed to be managing, your data products for your own use and those of others if you're open to sharing. The one thing about data life cycles, though, views is that there are a number of them there that change based on subject, discipline, or domain, different data formats and different communities. There are three on the screen here that represent one from DataONE, the DataONE's data life cycle, the Digital Curation Center in the UK has got a data life cycle that's represented here, and then the US Geological Survey Science Support Framework and Data Life Cycle is another that we can look at and use. So, so to say you want to publish your data and you're asking what is a data life cycle, you have to do with data publishing. So what I suggest is that we look at one and see the context in which data publishing and data life cycle fit together. So you'll notice in this screen with the US Geological Survey's data lifecycle model, the data publication is explicitly called out as a step within the whole science life cycle from that perspective. The life cycle, however, is iterative. So publishing can be considered the end of one data or data set's life cycle, but the beginning of another is someone else looks to find it and sees an article about it, sees the data itself, and wants to reuse it for their own research. So that's an iterative part of process that's really important that happens, and then getting to the publishing stage yourself usually requires going through those other stages too. So you can see that again from the USGS point of view, the ease of publishing the data in the other stages can be improved by learning good data management skills and common practices for your discipline's data. You can see that by looking at the purple bar there, that data management and knowledge management are the areas that sort of encompass or include all those different stages of the life cycle. So you'll find that many of the data lifecycle views agree that data management skills are extremely valuable as you follow your research path over time. And as well, I suspect that people you work with, such as your data support specialists, data librarians, data repository managers, and other support specialists who are part of the research team would argue that good data management skills, including knowledge of best practices in your domain, will not only help you work as you work through your research and you're creating your data, but also make it much easier for others to understand and reuse your work with proper credit to you. So if you're ready, when you're ready for learning how to better manage your data, what do you need to know? And where would you go to find educational resources? Well, I have two suggestions. The first one is as I mentioned, the ESIP-hosted Data Management Training Clearinghouse. That is the homepage of which is on the screen here, and the URL link is there as well. What is it? It's a registry of information about educational resources that point to and describe them as is submitted by research data management experts. The resources are curated or selected to provide training on data skills related to both the basics and the nuances of the research data lifecycle and data management generally, and are targeted to different audiences. The Clearinghouse contains information about a variety of formats, including short courses, 7 to 15-minute modules, videos, presentations, and webinars, learning activities like games or other activities to supplement courses, and data exercises that give you practical experience with different types of data and software tools. So just to give you a brief idea about what the Clearinghouse has to offer, this is again the homepage. As you can see, it's very basic functionality of search, browse, and submit that are represented both in the bottom and the top of the homepage itself. And to just go briefly into some of this functionality, the browse function is one that essentially gives you a list of all the resources that are in the Clearinghouse. We have over 400, almost 500 at this point, and that's great to see what's available, but not very helpful if you're trying to find something precise. So that's where the search view could come in. And again, pretty standard way of looking at finding resources. There's the search bar up at the top. The search results are there as well. And then the other thing, though, that's helpful is to have the filters or facets that you can navigate through on the other side. So just to give an example of how this might work, if you were to do a search for software publication, for instance, you can see that in the search box up above, the results at that time were 85. There probably are more now, as I said, because we're adding all the time. And then some results start showing up down below. But to the left then, you can see of those 85, a number of them they're organized and categorized by different facets. So for instance, if you're looking at the keywords, which are words that people who know the resource a little bit better by going through it already, at the time of publication, assign as being important information or what the resource is about, then they're a little bit more precision. So you can see that software management of these resources that are culled through for the search results are about software management in general. 14 of them are, 12 of them are about community standards and so on and so forth. Also, there are organizations, there are people names, there are other filters that you can look at and see as you scroll through the different research results. If you were to find one then that looked like it would work for you, this is a brief record that you can click on immediately to see the title of it, the full title, and a little bit of that description again, the description. On the right-hand side, you can go directly to the landing page of the resource if you want to, or we'll view the full description as well. And this is one of 3 screens that shows you an example of full record research results. The first one has, of course, the landing page itself, that description again, the authoring organization, what language the resource is in primarily, those keywords again, when it was published or broadcast, who the publisher was, organizations that contributed to it in some form or other, the purpose of it, and then also usually of interest to people is the target audience. So if you can find yourself within this list as an example, then you know that it may be more targeted to you for what you need. So that's a pretty basic view of at least the search and the browse capabilities that are possible as part of the Clearinghouse. But another type of information that can be very helpful to you as you move your research data through its life cycle is knowledge of the common or best practices that your colleagues in your discipline and your data support specialists have agreed upon. So these these practices will vary by subject domain and discipline, data format, and community as well. So one way to find out more about those particular best practices that might work for you is this. It relates to the second suggestion that I have, which is to go to the DataONE Skillbuilding Hub, which is a repository for best practices that they've organized and educational resources that they've organized based on the data components of the data lifecycle. So you can see from the DataONE lifecycle point of view, some of the steps are to analyze, to assure, to collect, to discover, and to describe. And within each of those areas, they've got best practices, they've got lessons, and sometimes videos. So that's another good place to go find out what kinds of resources are available. And then, of course, what we're also looking for, because both the Clearinghouse and the DataONE Hub are interested in, is keeping them both robust and current, as different resources come up. So if you find anything, any resources that you find especially helpful or know about, you want to submit them to the Clearinghouse or to the Skillbuilding Hub. From the Clearinghouse point of view, we can go back to that main screen again, that home page, and see that this is the submit button is here. And there is a drop-in, a screen where you can just drop in without having to log in or anything, drop in the title and the URL, and then of course your information and your name and contact information in order to have us be able to get to you and answer any questions, ask any questions that we might have as we try to move this through the publishing workflow. So the other, that link is down below for the submit screen. There's also the link to the opportunity to contribute to the DataONE's best practices and lessons and videos. And just to suffice it to say that we are adding resources all the time to both sources. And so please check back. We also are interested in hearing about any training needs that you have that you're not finding resources about, because we are also interested in seeking them out when they exist or could be adapted, or soliciting educational resources to be created from people who are those experts. So if you are interested, if you've got any questions or anything that you want to give us any feedback on the Clearinghouse itself, or any questions or suggestions, you can go to clearinghouse@esipfed.org, which is to the editor or myself. My email address is there as well. So that's about all we have right now. Please get in touch, keep checking back, and good luck to you with your research or your research support that you provide. Thank you very much.